Hey guys, what's up? It's me, the Cubing Bear, and welcome to another tutorial on how to solve the 8x8 Rubik's Cube. I already know that I've done a tutorial on this before, but I wanted to go ahead and do another one since the last one was like a VCube 8, and you guys know how I feel about that. It was also, if you guys didn't know, it had like really bad sort of audio lag between the pieces, and I really did not like that. So I decided to go ahead and perform another upgrade onto this and do another tutorial. This is the MF8, and it's a black and squared, which is one of the reasons why I want to do this tutorial again, sort of because it kind of goes along with the series that I've been using square puzzles instead of a pillowed one. That was the only 8x8 I had, but this is the one I'm going to use. We're going to get started with this tutorial, so let's get started. So basically the first thing that we want to go ahead and do when we're solving the 8x8 is we want to go ahead and build a center. Now, I already have said this before in many other tutorials that please go and learn how to solve a 3x3, 4x4, and 5x5. Learning how to solve all three of those will help you master this very easily. Because you will use a lot of concepts from there. You will learn parity from 4x4, edge pairing from 5x5, and the final step, which is 3x3 stage, which will be at the end from a 3x3. Now, I want to go ahead and say that it's not difficult to solve this puzzle. I want to say that it's not difficult. It's just more time consuming than solving something like a 5x5, 6x6, or 7x7. I also want to go ahead and say that I will be putting algorithms and other time posts in the little section right here if you guys want to see the methods. And I will be putting that right there on the side. But without further ado, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look at our color scheme. I would also advise that you guys have a 3x3, any 3x3 in your collection next to you, because this is an even layered puzzle, and because of that we are going to have a little bit of color scheme randomness, because there's no center that is defining each side. So because there's no center that defines each side, that means that we're going to have to look at a 3x3 and see what the correct color scheme is. If you already know, then great, you don't need to do that, but this is just for people who don't know that, so that's good to know. Let's get started and scramble the 8x8. Alright, so we got our 8x8 scrambled right here. Looks really nice. I honestly like the shades. Personally, I do like the shades on the 8x8. I really do think that they're amazing and really cool. Yeah, the first thing that we're going to be doing here is we're going to be looking for these white pieces. Now, these white pieces are important because they're going to help us build a bar. That's the thing we want to do. We want to build a bar, 2 bars right here that make like this or like this, horizontal or vertical, just making bars that are white. That way we can build off of that and build our first center, which is always going to be the white center. So let's look for some pieces. So I'm going to line it like this because I like having vertical bars. So I look for pieces that are kind of in this range, the 1, 2, 3 range right here. So I can see that this one would be able to go down here and be able to go next to that. And see, this is 1, 2, so I wouldn't be looking for that, but this is 1, 2, 3, this one. So putting it down there actually puts it together with that. So that's kind of a way to kind of know which piece is going where and when, is to see these sort of white bars and where they align. So let's keep going. So I can see that. No. Well, maybe this one can go down here, but there's already a piece there, so I don't need that one. Okay, so I see this here. This right here can go, I believe, right there. Yes, it can. And it can go right there. And then we can move on to the next piece, which would be, this is 1, 2, this is 1, 2, 3. So let's see if that fits. No, it does not. So I guess that was 1, 2, 3, 4. But trying to look for these pieces can be a little bit daunting at times. But it looks like we have our first bar, and that is how you build the first bar right there. You can see how I've aligned the bar right there, and that is exactly how it's supposed to look. That is exactly how it's supposed to look like. And now we are going to go ahead and start off with the second part, which is building the second bar. And after you complete the second bar, you're going to have it aligned right here next to it. You don't want it here, you don't want it here, you don't want it across. You want it here next to it. And here's what that looks like. Times I said this in the review, but sometimes the pieces they kind of want to come off, and so I have to be the one that put it back together. Oh my god. All right, so you guys can see that I've built a sort of bar. You guys can see that I built a bar right there. So from the bar, we are going to put it down to this bar. Like that. And by doing it like that, by doing it this way, you can see that we have this 2 bar right here. So the next step would either to build a bar like this, or you can build the outside bar. I personally like doing this bar and this bar second. That way we can just focus on the last bar, since they're the easiest, they're the outer edges, and they're the most recognizable. So kind of the same method that we use. We don't want to bother this. You want to put this here and align yourself sort of like this, with the white on the left and the yellow on the right, sort of like that, and use these 4 centers, these 4 area centers, as your workspace, so that you're able to make a bar and then just easily slide it in right here wherever you want. And then you would apply that when we go to the yellow side. So I'm going to show an example of doing this bar right here, and then we're going to continue on with the white side solved. Now, I know that I'm going a little bit fast, but I've already said that if you need to learn how to solve a 3x3, 4x4, and 5x5. And if you know how to do that, it's the same way as center building. It's just more extensive. So it's just sort of that. If you have any more questions, leave it down in the comments, and I will definitely help you and answer more questions. If I need to do a more in-depth review or in more depth tutorial, let me know. So let's continue on. I'll do the second bar, and then we'll go on to the next phase. Okay, so we have this white piece, we have this white side solved, and now we're going to go on to the yellow side right here, and from then on there, we're going to be using a different method for plugging in these things. We're still going to use the 4 centers to make our pair. Let's go ahead and make a pair right now. So you can see that we have a little 3 right there. We have to keep looking for pieces that are like that above here somewhere. Okay, maybe I can put this right here. Cool, we have that. I just need that piece, which is 1, 2, 3 right there. So I need to find a piece that's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that one will fit right there, like that. And then we're gonna move it up here because white is opposite of yellow. Now the way to do this is you're going to do this, move it up there, do a U2, and then move this back down, so that this doesn't get changed and this stays up here. Now we're going to build another one of these things, another bar right here, and I'm going to show you how to insert that in, because if you do it the same way that I just showed you, it will not put it in. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so I've made a bar right here. You guys can kind of see the bar that I've created right there. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to put this one right here, but it's not going to be like this where I find an empty space, move it up, do a U2, and then move it down, because you can see that move that back where it was. It didn't do anything. So what you're going to do is you're going to put it in the same spot that the other piece is in. So this piece right here. Now when you do that, you're going to do that, move it up. This is going to be back here, but when you do a U2, this becomes an empty space, which this one can occupy. That way it will be together, and we have no damage done at all to the white side. So let's continue on using the same method, building another bar on these 4 centers, then applying it up here, putting it on this empty space first, this first bar. Then after that, you would use the second bar to put it into this full space and then plug it in back there, doing the same method on the outer ones, and then we're going to go ahead and go on to the 4 centers. So let's go ahead and solve the yellow side and get right to that. Just to give a little bit of clarity on what I was saying before, you have this bar and then you're going to move it up there. This is an empty space. And then, yeah, you would just keep going from there, building your sides. And then for the next bar, and then for this bar, you would not put it in here. You would actually put it over here. So align this with this to make that. And then we're going to go on and use the outer layers, and then we're going to go on from there. One thing that people sometimes ask is, what if I have a piece up here that I want to move down here and I don't want to destroy anything? So what you would do is you would move that piece down there, do an F2, and then move that piece back up. And so you move the piece right here, and you can continue doing whatever you want, and nothing has been damaged up here. So that's a good thing to know if you ever want to do that and you don't want to mess up your work. Alright, so now that we have done the yellow side and the white side, the next thing will be to do the four centers. Now, if you don't know a color scheme, you can go ahead and pull your 3x3 and look at, here's white and here's yellow. And so the next thing would be to look at this, which would be orange, blue, red, and green. So if we take a look at the 8x8, we can see that this side would be orange, blue, red, and green. So I'm going to start off with the red side right here. So this is going to be the red side. So this is where I'm going to build my red bar and put the red side here. Then it would be green, orange, and blue. So let's get started with doing the red side. So the same thing as we did before, holding it like this with the white on the left and the yellow on the right. So that you never, ever, ever go like this at any time. Doing that, don't build anything like this because that's going to mess up here and here. Always do it like this, that way you don't mess up anything. So we're going to start off with the same method, looking for the ones that are 1, 2, 3 in this side. So I can see this one needs to go in there, but oh cool, look, I can put that down there. That will go in, and I can put this right there. That will go in, and I just need one of these that are 1, 2, 3, so right there. Like that. And so once you have a bar like that, you want to put it vertically. That way when you build other stuff, it will not mess up this bar either. So if we want to go ahead and build this next bar, it's kind of already almost set up. So we just have to find the other pieces. You kind of see I'm building right here. 1, 2, 3. Which one of these is 1, 2, 3? No. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Put that up there. Match those up together, and then go ahead and just add it like that. So for the first center, you don't have to use the method that we used to solve for the yellow side in terms of like doing this. We don't have to do that for the first center only, because it's the first center. Therefore, you can pretty much do anything you want and do freestyle that stuff. But once we have this here, it's kind of like we have to be careful after that because we don't want to damage any work that we've done. So right now there's no work that we have previously done on these four centers that needs to be fixed. But once we make that red center, we do have to be careful and actually insert it the way that we did right here. And I will show you that once we finish the right side. So let's finish the right side and continue on to the green side. Okay, so we finished this side right here. We can kind of see we have the sort of side that we needed right there. We have the side right here that we needed. Now we're going to go on to this side, which is going to be the green side, according to the color scheme, right? We have red, then green. So red, green. So let's work on the green side. So this way, it's going to be a little bit different. This time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my block right here. So I only have this side and this side to work with. Now for this, if we ever want to put a piece down here, what you're going to do is you're going to move that piece down, move it to an F move, and then you're going to move that back up because we do not want to mess up none of the work that we have up here. So let's build the first green center. No, that won't work. So it looks like I need a piece from up here, so I would move it down there, move this out of the way, and then move that exact same row back up like that. So I made a bar right here, you guys can see, and so I'm going to put it right here, doing the same move as we did with yellow, right there. So let's build the next bar and see what we can come out with. Okay, so we have the second bar right there. Now we're going to move it up like this. Like that. Cool. So now we're going to work on these sides, and then we're going to go on to the last two centers where we're going to learn about contouring. I've taught this a little bit before in 7x7 and 9x9 tutorials that I've done, but I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on this tutorial because, I don't know, it's just a little bit more in depth, so yeah, be prepared for that. So kind of one thing that I forgot to mention when we're doing this is because we have a solve side right here, if you want to move a piece like this up here, you're going to have to do it like that, and you moved up this bar and this bar up, so you're going to have to move that out of the way and then move this back down. And that's going to be for every single time that you pair something up by moving a slide up. If you ever move any of these layers like this, if you ever slide or do any of that, then you're going to have to do an F or an F prime and make sure that this end, the work you're working on, does not like tear apart from that move. So be careful of that. Okay, so we have four center solved. We have the orange, we have the yellow, green, and red. I think we have done a mistake, guys. Okay, so we have a mistake here. I accidentally switched it. It's supposed to be yellow, red, green instead of done yellow, green, red. So this is a good opportunity for me to show you guys. If you guys do a mistake like this by accident, you're like, oh god damn it, I made a mistake. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab these 3 layers like this. You're gonna slide it like that, do an F2, then move those layers back. You can see that we have this part right here. We're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna do another like that 2 times, F2, and then that's gonna move it like this. So now the color scheme is correct. Now let's move on to this side, which is gonna be red, green, orange, blue. So now we have these contours that we have to work on. We have the last 2 centers, which are a little bit more for the difficult side, but they're going to be pretty fun. Let me show you. So we can see that we need the orange side. So what I like to do is I like to build a bar, and that's kind of like the way with a 2x2. You can see this little mini 2x2 inside. I like to solve that little mini 2x2, so I do that. And you can see that by solving it, I kind of made like a little bar, but I don't have it at the bottom, but that's okay. As long as I have a bar right here, I'll know, okay, this is the orange side, and this will be blue automatically. So we're gonna start off by, let's see, so the first step was solving for this little middle center. So I haven't done that yet. We're gonna do that right now. So what I did is very similar to what I did in the 5x5 tutorial. So what I did in the 5x5 tutorial is sort of similar to what I did in the last 2 centers in the 5x5 tutorial. So be sure to check that out, because what I did was I solved for that. And so now that I have this bar right here, you can see that I've solved for most of it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this blue bar down here to a U2 like that. That way there's even more blue on this side and more of that on that side. You can see that there's kind of that on that side. What you can do is you can move this bar right here like this into the other blue side, and then move that up. So the kind of point is to have the least amount of orange and the least amount of blue on that side. But once you can't really do that anymore, this is where you're going to use what I call contouring, and everybody else calls that too. It's not just something I call. But this is where we are going to use a move set that is going to move just one piece up here and not change anything at all. So let's say I want to go ahead and see this. You see this bar right here, this 1, 2, 3, and that's also a bar 1, 2, 3. Let's say I want to move that whole piece there, do that, and since it wouldn't be okay to do it like this, it would be okay to do it like that. Remove all 3 of those layers down. Then I'm going to move this way, move this piece up, and then move this piece up. So what I did was I replaced it with the bar. So that's a good thing, and we're going to continue on from there. If that didn't make sense, let me break it down again. This piece, let's just focus on this piece right here. This one right here. This one. This one is going to switch. This is going to be orange on this side, and this is going to be blue on this side. Look. So you've done it like that. Now, because I moved this layer down one time, I can't do it again, which means I have to look for another space that's open for me to do another layer down. So I can either do it like this, where this hasn't been brought down, and I can bring that down. Like that. Then I have to move this back here, so I can move this piece back up, and then I move this back here again and move that back up. So that's essentially what a contour is. It's you're kind of reversing your steps, sort of. You're making a piece go down and then aligning it with another piece. That way it's forced to go back up into the new section. So we're going to continue doing that and then solve for all the layers. And you can kind of test it out to see if it works. So in this case, yeah, it works. So I can do that. So one thing I like to do when I have this situation where it's just the corner in the corner, you can kind of just do this. You can do an R, U, R prime, and that makes a bar. So you can just do the same method with the yellow side and just do that, and that will solve all of the centers. So now that we have all of the centers solved, now what we're going to do is we're going to do the first 8. We're going to do the How many edges are there? 1, 2, 3. We're going to do 8 edges. We're going to do the first 8 edges, and then we are going to do the last 8 edges and then go to 3x3 stage. We're almost done, guys. So let's do it. Alright, so now that we have done all the centers, now we can flip it back up to yellow on top, white on bottom, and then what we're going to do is we're going to sort of just use these 4 centers as our letter of leeway to make edges. So kind of like this, where I would see this blue with this blue combined together. You can kind of see that I'm trying to align all of these blue and white pieces together like that until they all come out at the same time. There's a piece right there. Move it in there on this side. Right there. So once we have a bar like this, what you're going to do is you're going to move it up to the white side doing R, U, R prime. And then that's going to put it up there. And you would just use that R, U prime, R prime, so to put in a piece. And if you want it on the left, it would be L prime, U, L. So just using those two ways of putting the edges in. And you have to do it that way if you ever want to put an edge piece on these 4 layers. And the reason for that is because if I just do whatever the heck I want, that's just going to mess up everything that we've done. All of our progress will go away and we have to restart the centers. So it's important that you do those things. It's either R, U, R prime, R, U prime, R prime, or L prime, U, L. So either one of those things is going to work out, and you can always rotate and do that and make sure that the piece goes in and just slide it in. And don't worry about these lines, because as long as you do that algorithm to move pieces, then these centers will just align back together at the end. So let's go ahead and build the 8 edges and then go on to last 4 edges. Okay, so let's say you come across a situation where you want to put this up here. You would just move it like that, R prime, and then you would just have your yellow and your white solved. And now what we're going to do is we're going to realign everything like this. You know, align all the centers together like that, just doing U moves. And you could see that if you did everything right, then you're going to be fine with your centers. And all of them are solved. And now the last thing we have is we need to solve for these last 4 edges. And so the way we're going to start that off is we're going to start off by building a little mini 2 edges right here. So we can see that this is solved, so we don't have to worry about that. It's only these 3 that we have to worry about. So we're gonna do it in the way that's like this. So you could see that this goes right here like that, and this one will come here and pair up with that one like that, like that, like how we learned on a 4x4 or 5x5. This is where all that stuff comes in. So next, after you solve for that, you're gonna solve for these 2 now. So this one's kind of already solved. We can finish that one off right now. Actually, let's finish that one off. Okay, so let's see. I see, well, sort of looks like this one can, well, we can see that these 2, this one needs to actually, no, wait. Yeah, this needs to go down here. Yeah, and then we'll just pair them all together like that. Switch it off with something that hasn't been paired. And then, let's see. That's solved, that's not solved, so I need to solve that. So first I'm going to switch this one with this one. Like that. That way I can come back here and do this. Like that. And so now we have that piece, and we can plug that in right there. Sort of like that. And so now this right here, this little bar is now solved. So now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to solve for this, and we're going to solve for this one and this one. So for that, it's just simple. We just look for the different corners, and let me show you the parity. So I've already kind of shown parity on sort of all of these, but if you guys want to see the parity between this one and this one that needs to be switched. We can do it like this, and I will put the algorithm right here and just follow along. So that basically solves all the edges. And so now that we're done with all the edges, we can solve it like a 3x3, and then we can see it's like a 1x2x3, 3x3. Let's solve for it. You guys already know how to solve a 3x3, and if you don't already know, I don't know what the heck you're doing in this video. Oh man, I hope I get parity. Do I have parity? No, I don't. Okay. Got lucky with this solve. Did a piece actually just fall out of this puzzle as I was solving it? So to solve for PLL parity, you're going to go ahead and use the same algorithm as the 4x4, like this, using these 3 layers like that. U2, 3 layers like that. Then you would grab all these 3 layers, do a U2, then do that up there. 3U2, U2. That solves the puzzle. That is how to solve the 8x8. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I want you to go ahead and give the video a like. I really hope that this tutorial was sort of successful and kind of showing you guys the ropes of how to solve the 8x8. Listen guys, I know that solving an 8x8 is, showing a tutorial on that is kind of pathetic and kind of useless. I understand, but there are no tutorials on how to solve an 8x8. And I personally like it when there's options. If there's an option to see a tutorial, if a beginner doesn't know that you need just 3x3 and 5x5 knowledge, and maybe halfway through the video they'll be like, I know how to do this. That's all right. That's totally okay. As long as there's that option online. I just want to have that option right there. Why do you think I did my 9x9 video? Nobody watched that, but who knows, maybe someone is going to be like, oh my god, 9x9, I don't know how to do that. And they look at the video and they're going to be like, I know how to solve it now. Because I looked at like 5 minutes of that just as a reference, you know? So that was the point of this video. If it helped you guys to solve an 8x8, that was the goal.